Hey fans, don't forget to check out our website at gutbustertv.com. We're also available on Twitter, Instagram, and yes, Facebook. So take the time to send us a message, look things up, or just get a hold of us. We're lonely. This is Gutbuster TV. Come on, man. Hey fans, don't forget to check out our website at gutbustertv.com. We're also available on Twitter, Instagram, and yes, Facebook. So take the time to send us a message, look things up.
Well, there we go. Hey, everybody. Here we are, kind of live on Facebook. I see Thomas joined, the legend T. James Logan. He's out there. Kind of threw this together. I was going to do it tomorrow night, but there's a big hockey game going on, so I thought that was a little more important than just some wrestling. Of course, the important part of that hockey game is it's the Flames and the Oilers, so we can't miss that. So all our friends up in Edmonton, I'm sure you're looking forward to that game. I'm a Flames fan, so there you go. Now, what we want to talk about tonight, like I said in my teaser that I sent out a little earlier, is we want to talk about what's going on with indie pro wrestling, what's going on with the future of what we're doing, spotlight on indie wrestling, why we did it, what's involved with that, and maybe what the future holds. And then we're going to go to the movies. Yeah, that's right. And there's a lot of wrestling movies out there. I'm not a big fan of WWE, so we'll try to avoid those ones. But I got a couple of good ones tonight. If you've got any good movies from wrestling that feature wrestling one way or the other, let us know, and we'll share them out on our comments. And then this is going to be a bit of a spoiler alert. We're going to break kayfabe a little bit. Actually, we're not going to. We're going to talk about somebody else who did, and the difficult situation they were no doubt in. And then we're going to take a look at wrestling around Alberta, because there's some good news there. I'm sure anybody in Alberta's heard about this by now if you follow any of the promotions that come out of Edmonton. By the way, let me see if I can get this to work. There we go. You can find out everything you need to know about wrestling from our perspective and the legend T. James Logan from our website at gutbustertv.com. The legend T. James Logan has been working on another project, From Your Mother's Basement. Go to secondrow.ca or download it via iTunes or Stitcher, and they get all things nerdy. We're going in to edit the third show yet, so it's got a pretty good show there. Stuff I'm familiar with. I was surprised. I didn't think I was that nerdy, and of course there was some stuff I didn't know about, and I checked it out thanks to what they talked about it, and I was really impressed by it. I learned a few things. Some things maybe I didn't want to know. So let's get on with spotlight on indie wrestling. There was a lot of discussion about this as as we move forward in time. We started almost a year ago. We had that clip show, Gutbuster TV, where wrestling promotions and wrestlers and fans would send in their videos, and Tom and the legend T. James Logan and Otto Allen did a pretty good job in doing some analysis, and they did a header and an intro and talked about it and what things were going to be shown in that clip. And then we thought, let's do some live wrestling. There's some good live wrestling right here in Alberta. Of course, Mike the Ref, and with his operation at the time, it was Edmonton Sports Podcast Network, Edmonton SPN, and now it's Backbreaker Media, along with Ponderillo Productions, do a lot. A lot out of Edmonton. and both podcasts, and they did video. But we thought we'd do some here in central Alberta, and we started off with RCW at Springbrook, and it was we wanted to do it so it looked like a show. And in the early days, we were working out a deal with Fight app. That's not Fight Network, but Fight app, and to get the spotlight on indie wrestling as part of their show, or part of their distribution. Things were rolling along pretty good, and then one day they said, "That's it. We're not accepting any new shows," and we were kind of left out in the cold. So we're kind of wondering what are we going to do with this. I don't want to throw it away. It's still good stuff. Still good wrestling. Some of it, we had luck with one. CWE came to town, Canadian Wrestling's Elite out of Winnipeg, and it was some really good stuff. And they came back since then. They didn't come to Central Alberta because the crowds weren't there. And that's really disappointing. I don't know why that happened. There's some really good wrestling, and I know there's the wrestling fans in Central Alberta. But in any case, it was what it was. So what we've decided to do is release, and I'll go all the matches as matches rather than as a show, because based on what I've seen in the stats, people like to watch the matches. So whatever you do, hang in there, watch them as we roll them out. We did until a couple of months ago, just before Christmas, we did a show, and there was some good wrestling talent. Certainly the top talent came and went. Apparently they're gone. As far as owners, they're still in the ring, but they owned Real Canadian Wrestling for a while and called it Top Talent Wrestling. But apparently Steven Stiles and, according to Thaddeus Archer, an anonymous co-owner, took it back, and it's just recently, the other day, as a matter of fact, became Real Canadian Wrestling again. So what I'd like to ask you to do is watch the wrestling. Watch the matches. Don't pay too much attention to the show because of the time lags and such. Maybe some of the storylines are missing, or they're broken, or they're so old now nobody can remember. But watch the wrestling. Fantastic wrestling. Great stuff going on in the ring. We've got some incredible talent. I'm not going to say top talent, but you know what I mean. Some really good wrestling going on. And what we've done with it, I want to share this with you before I go any further. We've put it on DVD. This is kind of old school. But there's a lot of people who don't have access to the internet like they do in the big cities. I'm pretty much one of them. The thing I want you to know, though, is that we work really hard at putting together something halfway decent. And you can watch it on YouTube. You can go to our website at gutbustertv.com, or if you go to gutbustertv.com/shop, you can check out our Wazala store. Click on that link, and you can get yourself a DVD. That's the first 4 shows, or the first 4 matches, and we'll release more as... oh, that's the CWE one. There we go. There's the there we go. There's the RCW one. And there's first 4 matches. And we'll release these as time goes by. There's a bonus if you type in the promo code GBTVFB, Gutbuster TV Facebook. We'll cover the cost of shipping. So for $10, you'll get yourself a DVD with that action. And like I say, not everybody has internet access like they do in the big cities. People living in the country, even people in other countries, and or maybe people like me, I'm just sort of on the edge. And on a good day, my internet's bad. On a bad day, it's, well, imagine. So these make good gifts. And I accidentally held this one up. This was CWE. This was the CWE show. Now there's some good matches here, including an interview that the legend T. James Logan did with Jordan Grace. Because of contractual difficulties, we couldn't show the match as a match, but we took highlights from it and put it over top of the audio interview that he had with Jordan Grace, and it's on here. Good stuff. And right now, there's lots of hits and views on that video on YouTube, on our YouTube channel at Gutbuster TV. Just go to youtube.com, of course, and search for Gutbuster TV, or you can go to gutbustertv.com and check that out. So that's what's going on with the indie pro wrestling. Like I say, I've got lots in the can. I'm going to plow through it. We're still going to put shows out, and we're going to release them like matches once a week. We don't want to waste it. We don't want to lose it. And right now, I'm going to give you a sample of what to look for.
Tonight we're going to see defenses of the RCW heavyweight title and the Commonwealth title. Are we ready for some great wrestling action tonight, folks? Our first matchup, a great matchup. A young rookie, Cameron Stevens, trying to take on a wily veteran by the name of Zach the Universe Mercury. We call him the Universe, the Universe. If you don't say it like that, he will get on your case. Many times I've had to interview him and he's done that. But here, let's get this action started. And now your main event of tonight. That's right, the contender tonight, Big Jess Youngblood, the champion, Commonwealth Heavyweight Champion, Strife. Oh, Jesse going for a power slam. Oh my goodness.
Spotlight on indie wrestling featuring the stars of real Canadian wrestling. I'm your host, the legend T. James Logan, and with me,
J.W. Shaw.
Jay, we are sitting here watching an interesting matchup today. Brandon Van Danielson, a very scary-looking bald man with a beard, taking on brash upcomer and newcomer to you, I believe, Jeremy Joseph. Fresh evening. Michael Richard Blaze, God's gift to wrestling, taking on the enigmatic Knight. Knight with a tremendous kick. Oh, look at that. God's gift to wrestling. Meet the mat. Oh, and look at this. Knight climbing to the high rent district. Whoa, coming down with a tremendous double sledge to the back of both these guys.
You should be taking advantage of this.
You're right. You were right, Jay. MRB taking too long glaring at the fans. But, oh, tremendous jackhammer suplex.
Well, there you go, and I guess I got caught sleeping a little bit, and I think I'm going to have myself another beer, a little bit of A&W root beer. I like root beer a lot. My favorite, though, is Route 66. This is pretty good stuff. I'm going to show you something. I just got these back from the photo lab. And these are just absolutely incredible. These are photos we've got. You saw in that one match. There was Strife and Knight. And these are, like I say, just got these back from the photo lab. And they're just incredible. I don't mind saying so myself. These are photos. These aren't printed on a laser printer or scavenged out of somebody's Facebook. These are actual photos from when we shot the promos at Springbrook for these guys. And like I say, we've got them at our store, gutbustertv.com/shop. And I'm going to work out a special deal. Watch our Facebook page. Like I say, these are just incredible. These are just incredible. Now watch our Facebook page to get the promo code for these, because I think these are so cool. I want to ship them out and make a good deal on them. The regular $8 plus shipping. I'll probably try to do something else for you, and as far as covering shipping for sure. And I almost forgot. There's one here. Yeah, guess who this is? Yeah. Yes, that's right. The legend, T. James Logan. I'll have to send that out to the legend so you can hang it on the wall. Send it out autographic, share it with his fans. So in any case, that was pretty cool stuff, I thought, and I wanted to certainly share that with you. Now, I'm going to do something which is new, and I want you to enjoy this. Now that was, pardon me while I had to push some buttons here. This is kind of a new thing. I really like watching movies about wrestling, big on documentaries. And this past weekend, I was pretty lazy. I had to work a hockey game, had to shoot video at a hockey game on Friday night. And then I had to work at a wedding on Saturday night. So on Sunday, I was pretty lazy. And I'm still kind of recovering from the flu, but I should put my glasses on so I could see. But in any case, I sat on the couch and watched some movies, and one of them was Beyond the Mat. That was from 1999 and directed by Barry Blasting. It was a documentary. And in 1999, I'm sure some of you may have seen it already. I watched it a couple of times over the years. And it sort of blows a little bit out of the water on kayfabe. It was about that era, right? Smart Marks and Wrestling Observer, maybe a little newer than that even. But it was great to watch. I thought it was a really well done. And if you haven't seen it, I recommend you see it. You can watch it on Netflix or Amazon. And if you want to check it out on Amazon, I'm sure I haven't, because I watch it on Netflix. But what was really, there was a lot of good things in it, but it was great to see Jake the Snake Roberts. You know, he was came through Alberta recently on the CWE tour. There's another movie about Jake. I've never watched it. I found it too depressing, but it dealt with his rehabilitation. It was on Netflix too. The legend T. James Logan watched it and told me it was pretty good. It was good redemption for Jake, and he certainly put on a good show when he was in town just a couple of weeks ago, the beginning of the month. And he did well. There's a good video of Thaddeus Archer getting DDT'd by old Jake the Snake. And check it out. It's pretty funny. Some people think that certainly he deserves that. I could see in the comment section, the legend T. James Logan he must have been booing somebody else's picture. He's there. So if you're out there, just click like or say hi and let us know what you're up to. It's good to hear from our fans. Make sure we're giving you what you like to see and what you like to hear. If you're new, if you just stumbled here by accident, sorry we don't have any porn, but you can go to gutbustertv.com. You'll be able to check out all our videos, interviews, audio podcasts and such, and check that out. And if you want to keep updated, because we are releasing content on a regular basis, go to YouTube, look for Gutbuster TV, or find it off our website, and click subscribe. We're getting close to a threshold point soon, so it'd be great to see us turn over on that one. It's certainly not 1 million, but we love our fans. Now, the other movie I watched on Sunday, I thought was pretty funny. It's a kids' movie. It's called Russell Madness. It's from 2015. It was brought to. It was from the guys who brought us Air Bud. That's a dog who plays basketball, I think it was. And but I watched it because it was a dog, a Russell Terrier, Jack Russell Terrier, who has a monkey as a manager, coach, and trainer, and turns him into a professional wrestler. And I thought, well, that sounds about normal. That sounds like real life. So I watched the movie, and I recommend you do too. It's actually a pretty funny movie. It's a kid's movie, but as like those old Bugs Bunny cartoons, there's another level in there, and that's where the adult can sit and watch it and catch all the inside jokes or innuendos. It was a pretty good movie. There was some points I thought were quite funny when they were cheering Russell. They were calling it Russell Mania. Yes, I'm sure Vince McMahon Jr. and WWE got a little concerned over that. But they were also in the movie. There was an unscrupulous promoter who kind of fit the description of Vince McMahon Jr. in a way, he was trying to take things over, and he even resorted to throwing the match. Can you imagine? This is fake. Yes, great kayfabe stuff. One of my favorites is when the monkey says, "Speaking of bananas, I'm going to split." It's a fun movie, and it actually had some real live wrestlers in it. They had Austin Spencer, who was from NXT, and a friend of ours, Scotty Mack, who starred as Butt the Clown. Of course, it wasn't a speaking part. It was, I think, a bit like Doink. But he was in there. And Scotty Mack, of course, is out in the west coast of Canada in Vancouver at the ECCW. But one of the major wrestling stars that were in the movie was John Hennigan, who played the role of Hammer. And again, keeping with some of the dialogue in the movie being a little corny, it was, the hammer's getting nailed. But John Hennigan worked in WWE as Johnny Impact, John Morrison, Johnny Nitro. And I heard an interview with him and who was it? Colt Cabana. And they talked about John Hennigan's latest venture, which is Boone the Bounty Hunter. It's his own creation of an action movie, and I've seen some of the trailers for it. It's pretty good. It's a real passion project. He's certainly looking to make money with it. But if you ever get a chance to hear that interview with Colt Cabana and John Hennigan, it's really good. But he does a really good job as that wrestler, who's a little kind of smart, but not that smart. And he gets beaten by the dog. Now, there's some people are going to... I hate to spend a lot of time on a kids movie, but I thought it was hilarious. And it was fun to watch. And you can see all those... you could see whoever wrote it confused boxing and wrestling. They were doing things that were more boxing oriented, but you could also see they knew enough about wrestling to break kayfabe here and there in a tongue-in-cheek fashion. So that's Gutbuster TV going to the movies. We got some others we want to talk about. If you have a favorite movie that you like about wrestling, let us know. I prefer it wasn't a WWE, but nothing I can do about that. As anybody knows, I'm not a big fan of WWE and Vincent McMahon Jr. in particular. But before we go on to the next, I'm going to ask Tom to, the legend T. James Logan, talk to you.
Hey fans, don't forget to check out our website at gutbustertv.com. We're also available on Twitter, Instagram, and yes, Facebook. So take the time to send us a message, look things up, or just get a hold of us. We're lonely. This is Gutbuster TV. Come on, man.
Well, we're back. Yeah, another swig of root beer. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this next section. I'm going to say a few things, and then we'll move on. The other people that are a little closer to the action have said things that were certainly more than I could say. But I do have an opinion and some insights. So that's a little intro for Breaking Kayfabe. The big news in Alberta, particularly Edmonton, is that the Edmonton City Council has lifted the moratorium on live combative sports events for wrestling only as of, I think it was Tuesday, and yesterday. They still have a moratorium on other combative sports, such as boxing and MMA and such. But the fighters can get licenses so they can still work out, train, and go to other events. As far as wrestling getting their moratorium for live events lifted, I think that's a great thing, and there's a lot of celebration in Edmonton. There, at the beginning of the month, there was a meeting in front of a committee that had a few members of Edmonton City Council and including the mayor, where event promoters, wrestling and boxing and MMA, made the pitch, the begging and pleading for to have the moratorium either lifted in whole, like for wrestling, or in part for some of the other combative sports. I wasn't there, but the folks we know up in Edmonton, like Mike the Ref and Massive Damage, I saw him there. I watched it on the news. I recognized him there. And everybody got to speak. Kurt Sorokin, the promoter for PWA, Prairie Wrestling Alliance, spoke on the news, as well as he spoke on a couple of radio stations, one before the Edmonton City Council made their decision, and after they did. And he spoke well to the sport of wrestling, or to wrestling. I felt, now this is where we get into the kayfabe thing. Breaking kayfabe. I wasn't there, so I didn't hear the whole pitch, but I watched what I did see on the news. I could see that Kurt Sorokin was uncomfortable. His role in wrestling goes back to Stampede Wrestling days. He's had PWA for years, and I think he puts on a pretty good show. They do well both in Edmonton and Calgary, and a few other special events that they might attend. And I have a lot of respect for Kurt, but I could see he was uncomfortable. And we all know why, anybody who works within the wrestling world, because he had to say the S word. Wrestling is scripted and it's sports entertainment. The S word. And we all know in wrestling what that means. Wrestling is fake. While wrestling isn't fake, some of it's like reality TV, right? It's sort of like I just had a chance to look at the legend T. James Logan. Pardon the top of my head, but it's the only way I can read my comments. Ever hear of I Like to Hurt People? Crazy movie about the Sheik. Oh, I bet you that's a good one. So thanks, Tom, for putting that in the comments. So where was I? Oh, yeah. So I was talking about wrestling being fake. Now, I've been a big fan of wrestling since I was a kid. And it's great entertainment. It's like watching reality TV. It's unscripted drama. But what I love about wrestling is that it's drama. It's a battle of good versus evil, right? And sometimes good wins, sometimes evil wins. But that's a play. It's like watching a Greek tragedy or a Shakespeare or any good TV or movie where it's all this battle rages. And that's wrestling. Just throw in some athletic maneuvers, some holds, some twists, some jumps, some punches, whatever the case may be. 300-pound guys in spandex, as there was a Coors commercial a few years ago, a Coors Light commercial. Pro wrestling is 300-pound guys in spandex. And but the point I'm trying to make here is that it's like, to paraphrase Hulk Hogan when he was asked if wrestling was fake, he said, somebody picks you up over their head and you're 10 feet in the air and they drop you on your back. Brother, that's as real as it gets. And that's right. So there's a combination, but this whole thing in Edmonton has brought out that wrestling isn't really a sport. It's sports entertainment. And you know who we can thank for that. Of course, Vince McMahon Jr. And so I think that's a tough time for certainly Mr. Sorokin to go through, and anybody who watched that. And I felt for him because he had to pretty much tell the world, or that part of the world, that wrestling isn't really the same thing as boxing or MMA, because it's all scripted and it's like, say the S word, sports entertainment. But you know, it's still a lot of fun. It's still entertaining. People still like to come out and cheer on. Like I say, you think about it, you go to a movie. Star Wars, by the way, isn't real. It's not a documentary. That's fake. It's just a story somebody made up. Wrestling's like reality TV. Some of it's kind of a story, and the rest of it is hard-hitting action. You talk to anybody that goes to a wrestling match, when those guys hit the mat, believe me, it is loud, obnoxious, and it hurts. But they are professionals, so they know some tricks to avoid breaking bones. So it still happens. I was at one match for CNWA a long time ago, and one of the wrestlers came out of that night limping. He had hurt his hip. He could barely walk, but he got into a hot tub, soaked it, and put some horse liniment on it, I guess. And the next day he was right there, ready to go, and into the ring he went. So it can, so physical damage can take place. So, in any case, what's coming up in wrestling? All kinds of great stuff now in Edmonton. Monster Pro is happening. Check them out on Facebook. Prairie Wrestling Alliance, they've got shows coming up. Real Canadian Wrestling, who just took back the ownership of the company from Top Talent, they're back in business. And if you want to see Top Talent, I've got a picture here of them. This is part of the series I was talking about. Well, there's this guy. Know who that is, don't you? Oh, see, I'll sort of hold it upside down now. That's heavy metal. And then, see if I can find some of the dastardly crew from... there they are, Top Talent. I guess they're still going to wrestle. Jesse Youngblood and Bryce the Slammer Sova and... oh, turn it that way, there we go. Heavy metal. And they're back to working for... let me pull this in real close. There we go. Like I say, these are incredible photos. And these are photos. Not just prints on my laser printer. Or these are actual photos. Great stuff. So check it out at gutbustertv.com/shop. And check them. Check the real guys. The real, not these aren't photos. They're real guys at wrestling matches coming up too next month. I hope to be there. Going to visit with our old buddy Mike the Ref from the Backbreaker Media at the CWC Canadian Wrestling Coalition show. I think it's February 10th in Red Deer. And don't forget, too, the other rest of the province, Calgary has PWA and RCW come to visit. And in out of Lethbridge, and they work the area, we have a wrestling company from there. Hey, Mike, I see you're watching. How you doing, buddy? So, hello to Mike the Ref. Mike's been covering the situation with the moratorium on live events in Edmonton. Did a lot of coverage. So thanks, Mike, for that. So check out Gutbuster Media, either on Facebook or I think it's probably the best place to check it out. And you keep up to date with what is going on directly within Edmonton, because Mike is in the thick of it. I'm sure some days he has to wear rubber boots because it gets pretty thick in the wrestling business. So in any case, I'm going to call it a night, and I'm going to, because there's a Flames game coming on. The Sharks are in town, so I got to check that out. So I'm looking forward to seeing Mike the Ref and maybe the legend T. James Logan on February 10th up in Red Deer at the CWC show. Check their Facebook page for tickets. I haven't been to a show like that for a while because I've always been working. This time I'm going to go as a mark. I'm going to buy a ticket and a bag of popcorn and a pop, maybe a root beer, and just sit there and throw popcorn at the heels. Yay for wrestling. I love wrestling. So in any case, let me see. I'm going to show you this.
Tonight we're going to see defenses of the RCW heavyweight title and the Commonwealth title. Are we ready for some great wrestling action tonight, folks?
Today, KW shot. That's right, you heard that, not
Our
Jay.
first match.
Danny Dugan and the Mercenary taking on.
And you can probably hear me out there because my microphone's still on. I'm going to call it a night after this. This is what you can get off of the
Universe. If you don't say it like that, he will.
Right here, this might.
Mary and Danny Dugan.
I'm pretty sure.
But here, let's
All right, Cass Carter.
Drop
Carter goes
kicks in
down.
the face. That doesn't drop.
some great wrestling. And watch GutbusterTV.com. We've got some coming up.
Wow, Well, fans, look at this one. We have the CWE champion, Tyler Colton, defending his belt against the Crazed Cowboy.
Cameron Stevens and Heavy Metal. Oh yeah, I'm watching you. Great stuff. Just
to win that title.
And now your main event
Tyler's got some
tonight.
back up there. Nikita Koloff, the Russian knight.
That's right, the contender tonight, Big Jess Youngblood.
Good night, everybody.